Well, close this. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out. My name is David Van Quest. I am the outreach coordinator for Truckee Tahoe Airport here. Really excited to see family and friends. The FAA is here, and most importantly, Master Pilot Kirk Heiser is here today. So, Truckee Tahoe Airport, much like any other airport, the responsibility is to lay down pavement, make sure that the markings are up to FAA standards. And that's really the extent to where an airport has any jurisdiction. But this particular airport, we strongly try to promote aviation safety and pilot education. So when we heard that there was a master pilot in our ranks, we're really excited to have a ceremony here, bring out the FAA and all of you. So without further ado, and because I have to go catch a flight out of Reno pretty soon, I'm going to hand it over to FAA Safety Team Manager Dennis DeGolia to talk about.
All right. Thank you so much. Great meeting. I appreciate all your help and your setup.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick around for just a little bit.
Very generous and hospitable.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Howdy, everybody.
Hello.
Why are we here? Like you said, I'm Dennis Segolia. I'm out of the Sacramento office. I'm covering for the retirees out of the Reno office. And I was very pleased to get this application for Kirk. And I said, oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll be so happy to go back to some of my home territory up here in Truckee, but more importantly, honor something very well deserving. So, like you said, I am with the FAA. It would not be an FAA event if we didn't have a pre-takeoff briefing, right? Okay, so, we have exits. I didn't bring my little sugar to tell you this stuff, so she schooled me on how to do it. Exits are that way, yeah. And the restrooms that way. And yeah, you can silence your phone.
Put it on airplane mode.
Okay, so I got this earlier at lunchtime. Family and friends, welcome. Thank you. Actually, I take that back. I say that, but he did do a pretty good job because I described you. So the Wright Brothers Award, as some of you may not know, is awarded for 50 years of aircraft operations, flying and or serving in the operations community for 50 years, without any infractions, continuously, no violations, even we read down into the details, things that are not even on paper that you submit, and no accidents, and very safe, and that's a long hill to climb, with all the environmental things that are out there, and so it takes a lot of this, mostly that, to back that up and do it properly. As reading through your recommendations, Kirk, your wingman that recommended you for this. Lots of pre-flight planning and attention to detail and safety before you approach the aircraft. So this prestigious award is recognizing all of that. So it's kind of funny. The Wright brothers started off as glider pilots and moved into powered flight, whereas you started off as powered flight and moved into gliders. Yeah. Okay. So let's recognize the wingman. Is Jeffrey here today?
No, he's
Okay. Wrote a stellar letter for you, and a really good background. It's always interesting to read. Just like, I give a form letter what it should look like. But some guys, I'm just going to tell a story. I've known this guy since we were 6 years old. I think Jim or Mark did that. You guys came from Houston. We've known each other since the 3rd grade. And anyway, Jim, thank you for that. Yeah. Mark, thank you. Haven't met you yet, sir. Yeah, pleasure. Thank you. Yeah. So there's your wingman. It's always as much as important as your own mind and safety, but to have the second, third set of eyes. So with that, our distinguished airmen, if you could stand, and we're going to make this a little less formal, and we'll just kind of do a little forum kind of situation here. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Okay. Come on up.
Okay. Where do you want me?
Right here. So I read all the details. I put these slides together for you and everything, but and your family knows you, but they're going to know something more about you because you're going to probably maybe you didn't tell the truth to some of them. But I would.
It's very possible.
We have pictures 1,000 words, and how many pictures did you give me? About 27. So,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Why?
37. Yeah, but yeah. I try to fit them all in here somewhere. Yeah, I think that's in your beach there, and then of course there's that teapot.
Yes. Teapot. You want to know how
He
he got cold?
called me and I answered. I said, "Hey, teapot." How'd you know that? Oh, I can read.
To get a call sign. When you get a call sign, it's not complimentary. It's always meant to be degrading or you screwed up. You have to screw up.
So you don't get to pick it.
You don't get a pick. And we were flying a Mather air show, Capitol Air Show. There was like 125,000 people in attendance. And the mayor of Sacramento came up to me and said, actually was her assistant, said, "Would you be willing to get a picture with the mayor?" I said, "I'm happy to, but," said, "we're a team. You have to do the whole team." And so there were 4 of us. So I called the team over and we're standing there and they're all bunched up. And I said, "Well, everybody, like this." I said, "Put one hand on the guy to your right and then take one step and go like this."
Teapot.
Hence, teapot. That's how I got my sign. Anyway.
That's awesome. That's cool. Cool. So just running down all the certificates and the ratings for starting off. You're 14 years old.
14
You get
on
to
the
fly
first.
in one of those
Yeah.
Sky Masters.
My first flight, official recorded flight with a flight instructor that was logged. I was 14 in that centerline thrust twin engine aircraft. That was the very first one.
Later on, first solo, 1975 February.
Yeah.
Almost to the day right now. Yeah. There's the Grumman pilot, private pilot. A couple years later, kept going. Instrument rating,
Float plane,
float plane.
commercial float plane, commercial glider, multi-engine with commercial and instrument privileges. And then I got into flying warbirds that most of you know, and radial engines.
So I didn't get a picture of the float plane. What body of water were you?
Oh, I was flying Calaveras
Okay.
all through there. I was flying. I went to Lake Como. This was actually kind of a amazing thing. My friend Mark and Sonia over there, we met them in Lake Como, and Mark was just checking into the hotel, and I was taking off out of Lake Como to get my Italian float plane license. And Mark called me and he said, "God, Kirk," he said, "you can't believe this." And I, by the way, there was the guy that I was renting the plane from sitting next to me. And he says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in a float plane flying towards this building." It was Mark walking out onto the deck of the first flight in Lake Como. So there you go. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this is Truckee in the lower right-hand corner. 2-place Grove DG 1000. And I don't know if I've taken everybody up in the glider, but it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Eric, my son over there, is going up with me a couple times. And we really enjoyed that. And I can't drive power. I'll probably go to gliders.
So, some of the career highlights. I see a lot of aerobatic fun in your career. So I led with that, with the briefing room right there. I think you guys were texting each other your safety points.
No. We actually all had clipboards.
Yeah.
And before we do any kind of formation flying, it's completely different than you jumping in a plane and flying off yourself. When you're lead pilot, they're putting their life and complete trust in the lead pilot that you won't get them into trouble at any time. So briefings are very serious and very intense. They're like every step, every maneuver, what we're going to be doing, what altitude, what speeds. There's no conversation taking place in this flight. It's all done by hand signals. If I want them to do an echelon and go to close trail or do a breakup and a rejoin. So we brief these flights, and I tend to be very detail oriented. These briefings usually lasted about 1 hour, and the flight is about a 1 hour flight. Then we debrief after it. So we have no cell phones going on here. Everybody has a clipboard. I have designated what maneuvers we're going to do, what sequence they're going to do, and then at the debrief we discussed what safety factors could have been better. Were our goals accomplished? That's what we do. And that's what you see in this flight. This is inside my hangar and getting ready to do one of our flights. To the right is a venue that my dear wife helped me put together, many of them. We call it Wings Over Vines because we had all the wineries giving us permission to fly over their wine country area and at 500 feet. And he knows what I'm talking about. There's a rule. No private, and any private we had permissions, but guys came in from all over. We had them from, I think the furthest was probably Arizona. Maybe, no. Kevin came in from Wisconsin. And I put this venue on and we brief and fly, and then we practice ACM, which is aerial combat maneuver. And I'm really fortunate because I have actually had the honor and privilege of flying with 3 separate Top Gun graduates, and they taught me how to fly ACM, aerial combat maneuver. We go out over the ocean and practice, and I'm telling you, the reason why I look as old as I am, the amount of G's that I've pulled. But it's really a privilege to fly with such amazing aviators. That's how.
How many G's did you pull?
The most I've ever pulled was 5.5, but it was not sustained.
A model aircraft?
That was in the CJ6A. Yeah.
Gonna give you a
We're
ticket.
just going to look at the POH.
Yeah, it's good. I promise you. I don't like wings coming off.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, lots of airplanes, 65.
Yeah. My biggest regret is the upper left-hand corner is one of my favorite aircraft. I have a lot of favorites.
Yeah.
That's a P-38 Lightning, World War II vintage plane. I was given the opportunity to fly co-pilot in that. This is at, I think it was at Mather, to fly it back to Chino,
Okay.
but the timing and work would not allow. The biggest mistake, not flying that airplane. But the lower left, below that is the Bonanza I fly now.
I couldn't find your 182 TR.
Yeah, it looks just like
Just
that.
like that,
It looks
yeah.
just like that. I flew
Yeah.
the 182, and then the center picture down low is a tail chase, and that's where you tuck in behind the plane in front of you. Your prop is directly below their rudders, and so the theory is if you lose an engine, you'll go straight back and won't injure anybody else. But to fly patterns and maneuvers like that, the team has to be on top of it. And of course, to the right is the other.
Yeah. Southern Comfort.
Yeah. After my dear wife, she's from Pensacola, Florida, Southern girl, and so I had to name it after her.
Cute. Yeah. 6755 Angel Flight Volunteers for medical needs and so forth. Young
Yes.
Eagles.
Yes.
Yeah. It's always good to see people paying it forward. Where did this landing gear situation happen? This 182. Is this at
This
Knox?
was no. I was flying.
I could have found out.
I was flying a client back from Los Angeles.
Okay.
He climbs in the plane. He starts crying right after we took off, and I said, "Are you scared about flying?" No. My wife's going to divorce. And I was like, "Oh my God!" And I'm going into IMC. That's instrument conditions, flying instrument all the way home. It's getting in the afternoon. It's getting dark, and I knew I'd be landing at dark. I go to land at Nevada Airport, as you're saying. I hit my landing gear, and my nose wheel landing gear would not go down. Would not go down. So I cycled it 2 more times, would not go down. I had to tell my client, who's just told me he's going through this divorce. All of a sudden, he forgot about his divorce. I don't know why. And he was completely quiet. And I said, "Look, we're going to go over to Napa Airport. Napa Airport have facilities for foaming the runway, and it's a longer runway." And so I went over to Napa, and I started to do everything I can to get the landing gear, high G pull-ups. At one time, I touched the mains down to try and joggle it to drop down. This went on for 2 hours, trying to burn the fuel off as much as I could. Finally, I said, "Well, it's time to land." And pull the gear up. Do you land with gear, the mains down and the front up, or, back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
Because I fly gliders, I wanted to just slide it in smooth. I was afraid it might tumble on me. So I slid it on in. The FAA was there, National Transportation Safety Board, every sheriff and fireman in the entire county. And I landed the plane. It was completely uneventful. And the FAA guy, I don't know if he said he was going to write it up as an example how to do up gear landing. I don't know if that ever happened. That's what he said.
Okay.
A little tiny, they lifted the plane up. The FAA guy was there. The next day, they couldn't get the gear down. Somebody took a cold chisel, hit the front gear doors, and it sprung open and dropped down. And so the FAA guy says, "No bad on you, sir." Good job. So
Good job.
there you go.
Very good. Wow, that's amazing. I was going to ask you about the FAST.
Yes.
FAST lead team formation pilot. What is FAST?
FAST is the organization that is accepted and denoted by the FAA to, if you get a wingman, you can fly in air shows as wing. And if you're lead, which I was, you can fly air shows with wingmen underneath you.
Okay.
And that's what it is. So getting a FAST card requires tremendous dedication and a lot of time. It took me, I honestly think, as challenging as the FAA, the private, the instrument, I honestly think getting the FAST card was 10 times more challenging. You're critiqued by fellow aviators that are amazing, and you're tested, writtens and orals, and finally they accept, yes, you're ready. And that's what FAST stands for. And it's an organization that's still existing, and if I owned a Warbird, who knows, I might be still doing it right now.
Right. Is that where you got most of your hours? Or
No.
Flying for your
I got a
architecture?
majority of my hours flying for business.
Mhm.
And I flew all over the state, having an architectural practice and carrying copious amounts of weight in plans going to the job site.
Yeah.
And after flying all week long, it seemed like, what do I want to do on the weekends? Fly formation.
And so what was the deciding? You sold your man chain. We had that for about 15 years.
I had that for 15 years, and my team of guys, one of them got to a point he didn't feel that he had the edge, so he sold his, and it was just three of us. And one by one, they started selling.
I see. Yeah.
So I was the last guy to get rid of it, and I miss it terribly. Yeah.
Well, you managed to stay accident-free and safe the whole time, so maybe that was a good decision.
Yeah.
Now what are you doing?
Gosh, these memories, you know.
I wanted a picture of the riverfront lodge, but
Well, you almost have it.
yeah,
You almost have it, Dennis.
yeah.
Because
I think it's on the next slide.
isn't this the nicest guy, by the way? I want to say this man is going above and beyond. For those fellow people in here that are not familiar with the FAA, it's a very important, necessary, thank God it's their organization. And all the air shows I've done, I've never met anybody quite like this gentleman before. And I want to thank you again personally for that. I mean, I seriously do. So, you're talking about our lodge.
Oh,
Upper left-hand corner.
yeah.
That's my friend, retired Colonel Lieutenant James Mullins right over there. And he flew his helicopter in there. And that was just this last summer. And Jim has been showing me the ropes on flying helicopters.
I think Truckee's wearing the same shirt.
And his wife Vicky and my gorgeous bride. To the right up there is the mayor of Sacramento, Rancho Cordova.
I was going to say I recognize her from the air shows because I worked with her.
Okay, Rancho Cordova.
Forget her name, but
She's a very sweet lady.
Oh, she is.
My son Eric to the right of that, and Diana and I going down one and to the left. Diane's climbing in the yak. I'm taking her out. Women don't like wearing parachutes. I've never quite understood.
It's not wearing the parachute. It's trying to climb up on top of that plane with that heavy parachute that's hanging down under you.
Oh, yeah.
It's the
Smells
most
like
awkward
diapers.
thing ever.
With short legs.
Yes, with no legs. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's dragging.
And to the right, with the three of us, me wearing the hat, that's my dear friend Mac and Annie Sterling. They live in Australia. By the way, they were going
still talk about how wonderful that was going up on that.
They were actually going to fly out here
Oh, wow.
to attend this, and I insisted no. And I said, I'll videotape it or something for you. But that's, what a great friend. My son Eric and Brennan to the right.
Awesome. And there's more. And a lot of your flight buddies there.
Upper right-hand corner, my friend Mark. We now and then use the plane for pleasure. And we will head off to go to Montana, wherever, fly fishing or do archery. And that's the picture of the two.
Yeah. Awesome.
In the center, this very nice gentleman, William Connick with the green shirt. He was the oldest air show performer. He was 80 years of age. He did his last air show here in Truckee, and I was with him. And guess what he received shortly after that? His master pilot award.
Good for him.
So I was really excited. He passed away not too long ago. Down in the center, this is an L-39 with my friend Kevin. And he owned that L-39, and I got to tell a story about this. This L-39 is a two-person light attack fighter made by the Russians. They licensed the Czechoslovakians to actually build them. So they were used for, and some third world countries still use them. But Kevin owns one, and they're not that costly to buy. Back at the time, they were about, well, it's still a lot of money. It was like $250,000 to buy one of these light attack aircraft. And this was, I don't know, I want to say 18 years ago, before I had my yak. And I I flew down to Chino Airport in the Bonanza. Here's this beautiful L-39, and I took it up and had a great time, landed, and Diane meets me out front. She goes, "What do you think?" And I said, "It's wonderful. It's just wonderful. It's everything I want." She goes, "Well, if you like it, buy it." It's that point I realized I absolutely married the perfect one. I didn't buy it, though. To the far right, though, I have to give this gentleman. This is Bud Anderson.
Oh,
Colonel Bud Anderson is a 3-time ace, 3.5-time ace. He is an amazing man, and we do 2 dedications to Bud Anderson. He passed away not too long ago. He signed the airplane, the yak I did, but it was kind of funny. The aircraft that he shot down in World War II, he was in the European tour. So he's fighting Germans. Well, my last name is Heiser. And who's to the far right? My friend Brian Nunzik. Hell, German, right? And then you had Blitz, which is not in the picture, all German pilots. And he's signing our logbooks, each one, because I asked him if he would do that. And he goes, "Damn Germans." In a nice way.
I think I saw Bud. I think it was at Beale Air Force Base Air Show. Yeah, wonderful. Retired. There's the Nos Airport and of course the Truckee Airport, as you recognize.
Of course.
Beautiful. Living the dream. Huh?
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Truckee Airport has been so wonderful for us and helpful. The faculty and staff at the airport, I mean, I can't thank them enough. They gave us this room and were so willing to help. It was David Vinquist. Is he still? David over there was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I'm glad you stole my thunder earlier with the L-39 and you saw that you picked it out of there. But if not, I had to put it up there because of the story behind that. You know, the Truckee Airport, the airplanes and everything.
These are wonderful aircraft.
But that reminds you that you married the perfect woman.
Well,
Just one of many reminders.
Right.
We can all come
This is
up
the first
with
one I know about. I'm certain there's 100 more. And, you know, and so that leads me into, you know, so we know behind every hardworking man and every successful man, it's the support staff, you know, and a wonderful woman. And so before we get on to you, okay, let's come on over here. And, Diane, if you come up, please. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So.
It's my fault.
It's the truth.
That's right.
I've been in the Air Force for a few years now, and I've seen a few retirements and so forth with, you know, colonels and chiefs and, you know, master sergeants and so forth. And for the men, okay, I'm saying, how did they get to be chief or colonel when they're gone all the time and they're deployed? Who's taking care of the kids? Who's, you know, making sure your flight suits are clean when you come home?
Yeah,
okay, so at least it's the least we can do is put them first. Right?
I agree 100%.
So, yeah, and that's a beautiful picture of Sedona, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Taken from the top
Yeah.
of Sedona.
So, but yeah, that's it. Anything else?
Well,
Let's
just
recognize.
Just one thing. Just one thing. Over here, if I may.
Yeah.
This picture was taken this gentleman right up here, if I may, which one?
The red one, right there.
This one? Okay. See that?
Yeah.
I was much younger. That's Wilbur Wright.
I can't read here.
So,
Which one it is.
you're old enough, you flew with them, didn't you? But on behalf of the FAA and myself, Sacramento, it really is an honor to present you with the Wright Brothers Master Pilot. Very well deserved. So the FAA provides a PDF, and then I print it out at the office, but I was able to obtain this really nice, in case you have two I Love Me walls. One for the hangar, one for community, actually. Your office or whatnot. But what's really neat is, I said we got a lot of data on you, right? But your applications and so forth that you filed. It's a certified true copy of everything that's in the Airman Records Division. They put a nice little blue ribbon and a thing on there, like, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. And a couple of commemorative. And I'm going to get another set because I think Diane wants to make earrings out of these. These are a bid for your lapel or whatnot.
Oh, I think earrings for the wife.
One for each of you. Yeah, I buy them by the gross.
Whoa.
I buy them by the gross.
I'll let you pass them around.
Don't mess up my earrings.
But when I saw these, and I was like, oh, that'd be perfect for his flight suit.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay. So the Wright brothers, yeah,
There you go.
and
Really nice.
and my card in case.
Oh,
I'm gonna complain. Yeah.
Hello, Dennis.
Yeah. And I'm not sure. That might.
Oh, that's.
Oh, we're going backwards. No. Yeah. This was a quote that he wrote at the end of his. I thought that was really cool. And I just want to keep learning more and have more sunset flights. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Dennis.
thank you.
I want to thank everybody. I know people drove long distance to get here and busy schedules and everything else. Family, friends, you're wonderful. I love you all.
Very cool.
So you made it easy. Yeah. Lots of material. Good bunch of people. It was very comfortable.
And for some of my.
Thanks for the video too.
Of course, yeah. So I will throw together an edit of the whole thing and share it with you guys. So